Since so many people have been commenting about it in the comments, I feel like we should just go ahead and just do a video about this so I don't have to repeat myself over and over again. And since it seems to be a talking point and I have my own kind of take on how it'll go. I think the model to look at for how the one D&D virtual tabletop launch is going to go is probably Fallout 76. This thing's going to need a lot of graphic fidelity if it's going to match what was shown in that preview trailer we got last year when they first announced OneD. The way the graphics of everything they were showing off in that trailer looked, that was pretty high quality, at least PS4 level kind of stuff going on. So on top of needing an internet and needing a computer that's going to have a good graphics card and enough CPU and RAM and yada, yada, yada in order to be able to render all this stuff, I would suspect that, because of the length of time it takes to make AAA games and how a lot of things have gone in recent years with the launch of AAA games, that right off the bat, the launch of the VTT is probably going to be delayed a little bit. I'd say there's at least a 50% chance, if not slightly higher, that that's going to happen. You could kind of bank on it. It's like betting on red or black on the roulette wheel instead of picking a number. It's about as safe as a bet as you can make on something that could happen. They'll be a little late, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. Hopefully, nothing too embarrassing. But all games that deliver, this level of feature, seldom manage to make their launch date. And Wizards of the Coast is not a video game producing company. So even though they're calling it not a video game, it's doing a lot of video game stuff now, isn't it? And it's going to be buggy because of these very, very same reasons, and that's what's going to, what I mean by Fallout 76. When Fallout 76 launched, the people who were excited to run out and play it found a game that was glitching constantly and wasn't delivering on what they were expecting from the Fallout experience. So a lot of people immediately thumbed that shit down. Sales immediately plummeted, and most of the reputation of Fallout was people dunking on it. Everyone, if you've never seen the Internet Historian's hour-long video about the fall of '76, you should check that one out. It's hilarious, and I think it's a good model. It's either going to be that, or it's going to be maybe, hopefully, closer to Google Stadia when that came out. But I feel like Fallout 76 is probably closer to what the VTT will be. And then, like Fallout 76, there'll be a small group of people who try to stick with it, and maybe after a year or two, they'll put out a massive patch that'll improve the thing after they've had to kind of come to their senses that, people actually do want to have all the stuff you're used to having in a Fallout game, like quest lines and NPCs to interact with and stuff. You don't want to just roam around an empty wasteland fighting randomly generated monsters and talking to people you don't know, who are kind of interfering with what you're trying to do. And so, yeah, I guess there's really not much more on that point than that. It's just I feel like that's kind of the model of what the VTT is going to end up being like, And so, yeah, after they've done some patches, a few people might be attracted back to it and be like, oh, because they hear that, hey, it's gotten better. But it's never going to be quite what it was supposed to be. And so, as I said also in previous videos, sure, they might still make $10 billion, but they were supposed to make $14 billion. And so, from a certain point of view, especially when you're doing all these long-term investment schemes, you just lost $4 billion, buddy. So, congratulations? Question mark? I don't know. This whole thing's a goddamn mess. And I think the real danger is just the long-term ramifications to the hobby. What is the hobby going to look like 10 years from now? We need to figure out some way to advertise the whole hobby. Not just individual games, but just to promote the role-playing game hobby to people through either some form of product placement. Like we need a Stranger Things show that's popular with the kids, but isn't specifically branded to any one kind of role-playing game. We need advertising, public outreach, something. I'm not the kind of guy to do that kind of stuff, but I know some of you out there are, and so we need to start thinking about this. If you remember Farscape, all the Farscape fans were able to get their shit together and put out magazine ads and at least get that acceptable miniseries that we got, the Peacekeeper Wars, to at least put some sort of end on that show. It might not have been exactly what we wanted, but it was better than nothing. And at this point, you know, we do need to think about the better than nothing sort of consequences that we have looming, not in the immediate future, but further down the road. Which, like I said, I've talked about in other videos, and you can go find them and watch them yourselves by hitting like and subscribe and ringing bells and going to various websites and looking at my books and all the other kind of juicy stuff I normally talk about in my videos. Stay well spinated.